So, last time I was in Falun, where I took one day off because it was raining and snowing like crazy for mid-May. Next to Falun there is, can you see this circle in the map? That's a meteorite impact. And I guess because of that impact, there is a lot of iron in the region. So the houses are all painted in red because the paint is made out of is traditionally made with the iron that's harvested in the region. So that's out of Falun, just out of it. So Falun was the real first place where everything looked so green and luxurious, and in a city it's always a few degrees warmer than out of it. So like I'm out of the city center and it's a bit less green, but still quite green. So after that snowy day in Falun, the weather was quite windy for the week, very windy, and we had snowfalls for 4 days in a row, and then again 2 days later throughout the day. So it was quite a slow week for me. Anyway, I'm trying to go on paved road mostly, but sometimes I take the Swedish cycleways that are more like usually beautiful, they have more beautiful sights. So that's one of them, and that's Red House. Unfortunately, you cannot really see its color because of the exposure, but I thought it was a lovely place, very, very Swedish, and that's in the county called Dalarna. So lots of horses around also, which was quite different. A railroad. So after that I continued down south. So I'm going south back to Switzerland. So I crossed, in Smedbacken I got stuck by the snow, so I stayed in a B&B there one night. It was snowing like mad, and when I woke up in the morning everything was covered in snow. And then in the morning I went down here. That's where I had my lunch. By the road there is, like, often next to lakes you have like picnic places like that, barbecue places and so on. So I had a small fire there, prepared some lunch, and then the wind picked up and I left. And then the snow came in and I stopped at that camping, and I stayed 2 nights in that hut. Quite nice hut. And then I left. It was very windy that day again. I think in the morning it was a bit less, but I couldn't go very far because of the wind, and my camera doesn't want to stick to where it's supposed to be, so it moves around a lot. I'm sorry. So I went down this unpaved road south in the hills. So once you hit the hills, the vegetation becomes very different, and you can see it's not green anymore. Like, it's not bright green of newly grown grass or anything. There is no newly grown grass. Everything is still dry from the winter. And that's because here, I think it's all over Sweden, once you go on a hill, even it's if it's 200 meters high or 300 meters high, it becomes very different from downhill, like very rapidly. Like back home in Switzerland, if you go up a mountain, you have a huge difference between the altitude of 2000 meters and 200 meters. But the same difference in Sweden is found within 200 meters. So if you climb from 100 to 300 meters in altitude, you have the same as 2000 meters in Switzerland almost. It's really impressive. So I'm going downhill here. It doesn't really show, but yeah, I'm trying not to go too fast downhill because of the dangers. Like, I don't want to increase the workload of hospitals in this time, so I'm trying always to be extra careful. That's me being quite careful on this unpaved road. So it's also not really easy to be careful sometimes. Anyway, I slept there one night in my hammock, and then I went on to the lake road, what they call the lake road. And that's where I had lunch that day. I have a small fire going on again. My bike. So it looks beautiful, but it was quite windy that day, and yeah, you can see trees moving because of the wind. Anyway, went down. Nora was a nice old-fashioned city with old architecture. It's the third city in Sweden where I see this old Swedish architecture. It is beautiful. It's a really pity you don't see it more often. I saw it in Lausanne, in the high coast, Swedish high coast, and then I saw it not on this trip. I think it was in Umeå, and then here. I really like these old style houses and streets that are a bit narrow. And yeah, the different colors of the houses, low houses, they only have one floor or two, but nothing high. And here you have an old train station on the left. Doesn't really show much, but it's for tourism only, because I think, yeah, they had a huge iron thing going on there. I also saw an open air museum dedicated to the iron ore finding. So here I took the red dot road because the green part was too bad of a road, so I had to go the extra mile. You can find these huts. It's a small hut for when it's raining and snowing and windy, I guess. So that's where I had lunch. Then I continued down south. Oh, it's southbound. Slept there in my hammock, and that was yesterday by a beautiful lake, and then I started crossing a nice, quite wild forest, and I'm stopping here in the middle of the forest. There is this old village that's been converted into a hostel. So I'm staying here, and they've changed, like, all the houses have different purposes. The old houses, like the small one here I'm approaching, is by a sandbox for kids. And it's a tiny house. I think it was used for storing foods. like maybe, I don't really know, but it's really tiny. And instead now they've got a small table, picnic table for kids in the sand for them to play in. It's kind of cute. Okay, see you next time.